Have you ever wondered why you can talk about your trauma all day long? And at the end of that talk, you might understand it, but you're still stuck in your trauma and you feel like you're carrying this weight. It's because your trauma lives in your body, not in your mind. I'm Lindsey Tosoni. I'm a somatic and transformational life coach. And today I'm breaking down what somatic healing is and why it's a missing piece to your healing trauma journey. I've been trying to heal myself and heal my own trauma for years. And what I didn't realize, and the missing piece I was overlooking, is that I didn't want to feel any of it. I thought I could bypass it, roll around it, not have to actually get in there and feel. And so the missing piece that has made the biggest difference and was the one thing that moved the needle more than anything else was somatic healing. So, somatic is a super big buzzword right now. And essentially, all somatic means is body. It's getting into your body. When you have trauma and when you're feeling these emotions, a lot of times we try to bypass it by thinking, right? We stay stuck in our brains. We try to logic our way out of what happened to us, what it felt like, but we're not actually feeling. And so, somatic work is where you come back to your body. You feel what's wanting to be felt. And your body is so freaking intelligent that it's talking to you all the time. We just don't know how to listen to those sensations that our body is saying to us, and we don't understand the language in which it is speaking to us. So, this is a muscle that can be built to a very strong muscle. And once you build that somatic muscle, you're able to handle anything life throws your way with a little bit more grace and ease, I like to say. So, trauma really lives in the body, okay? So, if you're feeling constriction in your body, tightness, stress, back pain, especially shoulder pain, if you have chronic issues with your immune system or there's autoimmune, so anytime you have a traumatic experience, and that cycle doesn't come to a completion, so you're not fully able to process it or feel it, it ends up getting stuck in the body. So look at trauma as an experience that you're having, right? This could be little trauma or big trauma. That trauma signals a fight, flight, or freeze response. Your body is releasing stress hormones like cortisol or adrenaline. And you're also having all these crazy thoughts, all these crazy emotions. And oftentimes, instead of allowing that process just to come to a completion, we end up repressing, shutting down, checking out, disassociating. Our spirits literally leave our body because our body doesn't feel safe to be there. And so we stop that trauma cycle from ending. And because of that, we end up living with the energy of that trauma and those emotional responses and those wounds inside of our body. So when that stress cycle doesn't complete, it doesn't only show up physically later on, it shows up mentally and emotionally. So it can show up as hypervigilance, anxiety, depression, overwhelm, all of these things that so many of us feel on a day-to-day basis or experience from time to time can be traced back to trauma that we have experienced that just didn't get the chance to complete its cycle. So this is why talk therapy, while there is a time and a place, and I believe talk therapy is extremely important as to understanding your patterns and wounds so that you don't repeat the same cycles, especially when it comes to, let's say, romantic relationships. Somatic healing is when we bring our awareness out of our minds and back into our bodies. Somatic work can look like breath work, it can look like grounding, meditation, but it also looks like very simple exercises and movements that you're doing on a consistent basis every single day in little bite-sized portions. And I will go into those in other videos to show you exactly what that looks like. There's so many different ways that you can speak to the nervous system. So the nervous system, in order for trauma to process, needs to be spoken to in a way that it understands. And it understands somatic work, somatic therapy, somatic healing. Somatic work is also using your five senses to really orient into the environment that you're in to bring your presence back into this present moment. And it's also working with sensations in your body rather than staying stuck in a story. So if you find yourself telling a story of something that you experienced that might have been traumatic, and you start getting all of this overwhelm and anxiety in your body, or you could feel that anger, what we do is we stop talking and then we get into the body and we pay attention and bring our awareness into what it is that we're feeling right there in that moment and allow that to rise to the surface and to clear out. And the more that you do this, the more, again, you're building that muscle, you're building that courage to be able to sit in your own pain for it to be processed. You are going to become a warrior, okay? Most people are going to go their entire lives without doing somatic work, and I can't express to you enough how deeply important it is, and it is the missing piece to so many people's healing journeys. When you think about trauma and everything that you might have experienced, is it something that you really want to hold on to? No. But why is it so hard to let go of? The key here is somatic work. When you get into the body, your body is actually able to let it go because it's not your mind that's going to let go of the trauma, it is your body and your nervous system. So, how somatic therapy helps with trauma, there are a countless amount of ways that it does, but just to name a few, it helps regulate your nervous system. So the key here is not to be regulated 24/7, right? That's impossible. We live in a very demanding and overwhelming world. The key here is to build up resiliency in your nervous system so that when you are approached with a stressful situation, you might have a little bit of a fight, flight, or freeze response, but then your nervous system is able to bring you back down into a balanced state. That is the key here. Another benefit of somatic work is that it literally allows your body to release that stored survival energy that your body has been holding onto for perhaps years and maybe even decades. Next, it allows you to restore connection to yourself, to your emotions, and to those around you. The more trauma and stress energy you're able to clear out of your body, the less disassociated you become, the more present you become, and the more present you are able to be with those around you. When your nervous system is regulated, that is when connection can happen. When you're in a dysregulated state, it's very hard to get to a place of connection that feels safe with others and with yourself. And the biggest key here is that connection to yourself. It's something that so many people overlook and don't even pay attention to. Somatic work literally helps you rebuild that connection with yourself so you can learn to trust yourself. You are safe in your own presence, and you know that whatever life throws your way, you have the confidence, the courage, the wisdom, the knowledge, the resources, and the tools to get through it with a little bit more ease than if that connection was missing. And the last benefit I'm going to mention is that it just allows you to come back to a space of wholeness, which is such a beautiful thing. Yes, our healing journeys could go on forever, right? But you get to feel good in this moment, and somatic healing helps you do that. So, in summary, somatic healing is all about coming back to the body. So many people have a very one-way street approach to healing, and that is talk therapy. But somatic work is equally, if not more important than talk therapy alone. Using them in conjunction, you're going to make so much progress. It helps regulate your nervous system, release old memories, trauma, stress energy, and it helps you restore a sense of safety and connection. How beautiful is that? That you are going to receive the tools and the practices in order to get yourself back to a state of safety and connection. Through simple practices that involve your breath or movement or orienting to your environment, you're able to bring yourself back into those places of groundedness and safety. And most importantly, we can complete those old trauma cycles, those old survival cycles, and restore balance in our souls. So if you're wanting to dive into somatic work, this is something I do with my clients. You can check out my website below, reach out to me directly. I would love to chat with you and get you on a path of feeling balanced, regulated, peaceful, joyful, feeling alive again, coming back into your body, being able to connect with your family and your kids and friends in a way that maybe you haven't in a really long time. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next video.